My squad leader found me staring at my phone in the bunker. Bad news from home? I showed him the screenshot. Account balance, $0. Rebecca had taken everything. 13 years of savings gone in 6 weeks. She'd even cashed out my TSP retirement fund using a forged power of attorney. From her Instagram, she was already living with Derek, her CrossFit trainer. She thought she'd left me penniless in a war zone. She didn't know that grandfather's inheritance was sitting in a completely different bank, untouched and growing. This story shows how the worst betrayal can lead to the best revenge. If you've ever been stabbed in the back by someone you trusted, subscribe to see how justice finds its way. Let me tell you how my deployment disaster became her downfall. My name is Staff Sergeant Michael Matthews, 35 years old, Army Infantry, currently on my 3rd deployment to Afghanistan. I met Rebecca in 2006 at Fort Bragg. She was working at the base Starbucks. I was a young private fresh out of basic training. Her smile caught me first, bright, genuine, the kind that made you forget you were about to deploy to Iraq in 2 months. We got married in 2008, a simple ceremony at the base chapel. She understood military life, or at least said she did. I know what I'm signing up for, she'd said. The deployments, the moves, the uncertainty. I'm tough enough. For years, I believed her. We had 2 kids, Michael Jr. in 2010 and Sarah in 2012. I missed both births, deployed both times. Rebecca never complained, at least not to my face. She sent videos, photos, kept me connected. I thought we were solid. 13 years of marriage, 2 combat deployments under our belt, building our future together. I was careful with money. Growing up poor in West Virginia taught me that. Every combat pay bonus, every re-enlistment bonus, every tax-free dollar earned in combat zones went straight to savings. By 2019, we had $387,000 saved up. Our plan was simple: 1 more deployment. Then I'd retire at 20 years, we'd buy a house in Colorado. I'd use my GI Bill for college. The American dream, earned the hard way. January 2019, I got orders for Afghanistan. FOB Chapman in Coast Province, right on the Pakistan border. Dangerous, but the combat pay would push our savings over $400,000. Rebecca seemed supportive. "One last time," she said. "Then you're done, right?" I promised her this was it. The first few months were normal. Daily patrols, occasional rocket attacks, the usual Afghanistan experience. Rebecca and I video chatted when I could get internet. The kids were growing fast. Michael Jr. was playing Little League. Sarah had started dance classes. Normal family stuff happening 7,000 miles away. But in March, things felt different. Rebecca seemed distracted during our calls. Always had somewhere to be. The kids were always at sleepovers or with her mother. "I need some me time," she'd say. This deployment is hard on me too, I understood. Or thought I did. Then came the Instagram posts. Rebecca had never been into fitness before, but suddenly she was at the gym every day. New workout clothes, protein shakes, transformation photos. Her CrossFit trainer, Derek, appeared in more and more photos. "Just my coach," she said when I asked. "He's helping me get healthy. Don't you want me to be healthy?" April 2019. My buddy Thompson was scrolling through Facebook during downtime. "Yo, Matthews, your wife's looking good," he said, showing me his phone. It was a photo from Rebecca's gym. She was in workout gear I'd never seen, laughing with Derek and another couple. The caption read, "Sweat Squad Goals." Hashtag New Life New Me, hashtag Transformation Journey, something. Felt wrong. In 13 years, Rebecca had never posted photos with other men. Now Derek was in half her posts. Always professional looking, but his hand on her shoulder here, her laughing at something he said there. I pushed down the suspicion. Deployment. Paranoia, I told myself. Happens to everyone. I started paying more attention though. Our joint checking account, which usually held about $10,000 for bills and emergencies, started showing unusual activity. Withdrawals I didn't recognize. When I asked Rebecca, she had explanations. New tires for the car. Sarah needed braces. The AC unit broke. All reasonable, all expensive. All impossible to verify from Afghanistan, May 2019. I was checking our accounts from the base computer lab when I noticed something odd. A $50,000 transfer from savings to checking, then a $49,500 cash withdrawal the next day. My heart stopped. I called Rebecca immediately. "Oh, that," she said casually. I moved it to a CD at another bank. Better interest rates. The banker said, "We were losing money keeping it in savings." It sounded reasonable. She even sent me a photo of paperwork. I couldn't read the details in the grainy image, but it looked official. I let it go. June 2019. More transfers. $30,000 here. $40,000 there. Always just under the $50,000 limit that triggers federal reporting. Always with explanations. Investment opportunities. Home repairs. Her mother needed surgery. Each time I got partial documentation, blurry photos, reasonable explanations. I was standing post at 2 a.m. when the pattern hit me. The withdrawals were systematic, calculated. Someone had coached her on how to drain accounts without triggering bank alerts. The excuses were too smooth, the documentation too vague. My wife was stealing from me while I was in a combat zone. Couldn't do anything from Afghanistan. No internet reliable enough for banking. No phone service consistent enough for lawyers. The base legal office said they couldn't help with civilian matters. I was trapped, watching my life savings disappear. $50,000 at a time. July 15, 2019. The day everything became clear. I'd managed to get a good internet connection and logged into our bank account. Balance, $0. Not just checking. Savings too. 13 years of combat pay, re-enlistment bonuses, deployment savings. Gone, but that wasn't the worst part. I checked. My TSP, the military's retirement fund. It should have had $127,000. Balance, $0. She'd forged a power of attorney and cashed out my entire retirement, taking the massive tax penalty just to get the cash. I sat in that bunker, staring at my phone, trying to process what had happened. $514,000 total. Gone. My squad leader, Sergeant First Class Johnson, could see I was in shock. "Matthews, talk to me. What's going on?" I showed him everything. The empty accounts, the forged documents, even pulled up Rebecca's Instagram. There. She was posted just hours ago at a restaurant I didn't recognize, wearing jewelry I'd never seen, sitting across from Derek. The caption, "Celebrating new beginnings." Hashtag blessed, hashtag living my best life. "Brother," Johnson said quietly, "I think you need to call JAG." The Judge Advocate General's office, the military lawyers couldn't do much. "It's a civilian matter," Captain Harrison told me. "Your wife has legal access to joint accounts. The TSP theft is criminal, but you'll need civilian lawyers for that. From Afghanistan, your options are limited." That's when I remembered. Grandfather's inheritance. When my grandfather died in 2016, he left me $200,000. Strange. Thing was, he insisted I keep it separate. "Never put all your money where a woman can reach it," he'd said. Learned that from my first marriage. I'd thought he was being old-fashioned, paranoid. But I'd honored his wishes, putting the money in a Navy Federal Credit Union account that Rebecca didn't know about. It wasn't just the money. 3 months before deployment, I'd gotten suspicious about Rebecca's behavior and done something else. I'd started a security consulting business, using my combat experience to advise corporations on threat assessment. The contracts were small, but they paid well. All payments went to the Navy Federal account. By July 2019, that account had grown to $340,000. Rebecca thought she'd cleaned me out. She thought I'd come home broke, desperate, with no options. She didn't know about the second bank. She didn't know about the business. And she definitely didn't know about the email I'd sent myself. 2 weeks before she started draining accounts, Rebecca had sent me an email meant for Derek. She'd hit reply all by mistake on a group message. It detailed their entire plan: how to withdraw money without triggering alerts, how to forge the power of attorney, how to time everything for maximum impact while I was deployed. Even mentioned their plan to file for divorce the day before I returned. So I'd be served papers at the airport. I'd saved that email, forwarded it to 3 different accounts, screenshot it, saved it on multiple drives. I knew it would be important. Someday. I just didn't know how soon. From my bunker in Afghanistan, I couldn't file for divorce, but I could prepare. I emailed my cousin James, a lawyer in Colorado. Sent him everything: the email, the bank records, the forged documents. Start building a case, I wrote. I'll be home in 5 months. The remaining months in Afghanistan were the hardest of my life. Not because of the Taliban or the IEDs or the 120-degree heat, because I had to pretend everything was normal. I still called Rebecca, still told her I loved her, still asked about the kids. I needed her to think she'd won. She was getting sloppy, overconfident. The Instagram post showed new cars: a BMW for her, a Jeep for Derek, vacations to Cabo, designer clothes. She was burning through my money fast, probably thinking she'd get alimony and child support to keep the lifestyle going. Meanwhile, I was building my case. Every lavish purchase she posted was evidence. Every photo with Derek was documentation. My lawyer cousin was working with a forensic accountant to track every penny. The forged power of attorney was being analyzed by handwriting experts. We were building an airtight case for fraud, theft, and criminal conspiracy. September 2019. Rebecca made her biggest mistake. She posted on Facebook about her new business venture with Derek, a CrossFit gym they were opening together. The startup costs? Exactly $387,000. She'd used my combat savings to fund her boyfriend's business. December 10th, 2019. I landed at Pope Field, Fort Bragg. 300 soldiers getting off the plane, families waiting with signs and balloons. I scanned the crowd. For Rebecca and the kids, nothing. Then I saw him, a process server in a cheap suit, holding papers. Staff Sergeant Michael Matthews? I nodded. You've been served. Rebecca was divorcing me, just like her email had said. Claiming abandonment, emotional neglect, irreconcilable differences. Demanding full custody, the house, and alimony. She had no idea what was coming. My cousin James met me at the barracks. Ready for this? He asked. I'd never been more ready. For anything in my life. We drove straight to the courthouse and filed our own papers. Divorce countersuit citing adultery and fraud. Criminal complaint for theft, forgery, and embezzlement. Civil suit for the return of stolen funds. Rebecca's lawyer was cocky in our first meeting. Mrs. Matthews is willing to be generous, he said. She'll accept $3,000 a month in alimony and child support, plus the house, considering your limited financial situation after your poor investment choices. That's more than fair. My lawyer smiled. Poor investment choices? Well, obviously. Cashing out retirement funds, emptying savings accounts. My client tried to stop him, but he trailed off as my lawyer placed document after document on the table. Bank records. The forged power of attorney. The email detailing the plan. Screenshots of Rebecca with Derek, dated while I was deployed. The best part was watching Rebecca's face when we revealed the Navy Federal account. Your client seems to have missed some assets in her inventory, my lawyer said. $340,000 to be exact. plus another $50,000 that came in while Sergeant Matthews was deployed. Rebecca tried to play victim, claimed I'd hidden assets, said she only took money because I was financially abusive. The judge wasn't buying it. The evidence was overwhelming. The forensic accountant testified that every withdrawal happened while I was deployed, unable to access banks. The handwriting expert confirmed the power of attorney was forged. The email showed premeditation. Derek flipped on Rebecca immediately. Claimed she'd told him I was abusive, that the money was rightfully hers. Said he had no idea about the theft. His lawyer negotiated a plea deal. He'd testify against Rebecca in exchange for immunity. Their CrossFit gym, it turned out, was entirely in his name. Rebecca had funded it, but had no legal claim. The criminal trial was swift. Grand theft, forgery, wire fraud. The prosecution painted a picture of a woman who'd waited until her husband was in combat to rob him blind. The jury, many of them veterans or military families, deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts, March 2020, sentencing day. Rebecca faced up to 15 years. Her lawyer pleaded for mercy. First offense, mother of 2. Led astray by a manipulative man. The judge listened patiently, then spoke. Mrs. Matthews, you didn't just steal money. You betrayed a soldier serving his country. You used his deployment, his service to our nation, as an opportunity for theft. You left him in a war zone believing he'd lost everything. This court sentences you to 5 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years probation. You will pay full restitution of $514,000 plus interest. The divorce was finalized the same week. I got full custody of the kids. Rebecca couldn't very well parent from federal prison. No alimony. She got nothing except a felony record and debt she'd never be able to repay. Derek's gym failed within 6 months. Without Rebecca's stolen money to prop it up, he couldn't make rent. Last I heard, he was working at a Planet Fitness in another state. I retired from the Army in 2020, full benefits intact. My security consulting business took off. Turns out, companies pay well for advice from someone who's actually been in combat. The $340,000 from Navy Federal became the seed money for a real company. We now have contracts worth $2 million annually. Kids struggled at first. Their mother in prison, their lives upended. But kids are resilient. Michael Jr. is thriving in high school, wants to go to West Point. Sarah is an artist, paints portraits of soldiers that make me cry. They visit their mother once a month. I don't stop them. Whatever she did to me, she's still their mother. Rebecca got out on good behavior after 3 years. She lives in a small apartment, works at a call center, pays $500 a month toward restitution. At that rate, she'd be paying until she's 80. She asked to see me once, to apologize. I declined. Some wounds don't need reopening. Looking back, the signs were there. The distance during my second deployment. The sudden interest in fitness. The questions about our finances, but I trusted her. 13 years of marriage, 2 kids, a life built together. I couldn't imagine she'd throw it all away for a 25-year-old gym bro with a six-pack and a man bun. My grandfather was right. Never put all your money where a woman can reach it. Not because women can't be trusted, but because anyone can be tempted when opportunity meets desperation. That inheritance he insisted I keep separate saved my life. Without it, I'd have come home to nothing. The Navy Federal account wasn't just about money. It was about having options. When Rebecca thought she'd left me powerless, I had the resources to fight back. When she thought I'd be too broke for lawyers, I could afford the best. When she thought I'd have to accept whatever scraps she offered, I could walk away. Today, my company employs 15 veterans. We provide security consulting to Fortune 500 companies, using skills we learned in Iraq and Afghanistan. My kids are proud of me, not just for serving, but for surviving betrayal and building something better. Rebecca's betrayal taught me valuable lessons. Document everything. Trust but verify. Always have a backup plan. And never, ever let anyone else control your entire financial future. The heartbreak faded. The anger cooled. What remained was wisdom earned the hard way. Sometimes I think about that moment in the bunker, staring at that $0 balance, thinking my life was over. If someone had told me it was actually the beginning of something better, I'd have laughed. But grandfather's inheritance gave me the power to fight back. Rebecca's greed gave me the evidence to win. And Derek's stupidity gave me the satisfaction of watching their scheme crumble. My name is Michael Matthews. I survived 3 combat deployments and 1 marriage. The marriage was more dangerous. But like any good soldier, I had a contingency plan. Rebecca thought she'd left me penniless in a war zone. She didn't know about the second bank. That ignorance cost her everything. To anyone deployed and worried about home, keep some assets separate. Document everything suspicious. Trust your instincts. And remember, the worst betrayal might just lead to your best life. You just have to survive it first.